Welcome to Midnight Whispers. When the world sleeps, we awaken. In this realm, shadows speak louder than light. Here, forbidden love echoes through ancient halls, where shapeshifters bleed secrets, vampires mourn forgotten promises, and sirens sing to gods who no longer answer. We are not just telling stories. We are unearthing truths the daylight hides. If you've ever felt the pull of something darker, if your heart beats louder in silence, if you believe that monsters can love and villains might be right, then you've already heard us. So stay close, listen carefully, and let the whispers begin. Welcome to the shadows. Welcome to Midnight Whispers.
Serpent's Eclipse, a forbidden love. The awakening beneath the moon. The first time the serpent saw her, the moon bled crimson. His name was Kale, the last of the serpent-born, a forgotten race born from shadows and venom, cursed to roam between forms, never belonging to any one world. He was neither man nor beast, but something ancient, something whispered about in the oldest, dust-covered books the gods had tried to burn. He had lived through centuries in the obsidian forests of Ashreldar, watching time rot the bones of kingdoms. But when he first saw her, Selene, standing barefoot in the snow of the northern ridge, her eyes gleaming like blood-stained rubies, something inside Kale began to unravel. She was a vampire, but not like the others who fed recklessly and disappeared with the fog. No, Selene was royalty. A descendant of the Crimson Order, banished for defying the sacred vow, vampires must never love. And yet, she looked at Kale like he was the last star in a darkening sky. But as their eyes met beneath that dying moon, something else awoke. A pulse in the earth, crackling in the stars. And far above them, hidden beyond mortal sight, the old gods stirred. They had buried the truth for eons, that love between species chosen by the Celestials was forbidden. And Kale and Selene? They were the final prophecy, the spark that could ignite the celestial war. But the lovers did not know that yet. Not until the skies began to fall. The alien prince of shadows. Long before Kale was born, another world had burned. From the shattered nebulae of the Virex system, a ship drifted through folds of space, cloaked in shadows and secrets. Inside it was a being neither mortal nor divine, a creature forged from stardust and silence. His name was Orion. To the humans, he was a myth, one of the fallen travelers. But to the gods, he was an abomination. A being who could bend time, morph gravity, and whisper into the dreams of dying stars. Orion had come to Earth not to conquer it, but to find someone. A vision haunted him since birth. A girl with ruby eyes standing in the snow, whispering his name long before they'd ever met. And then he saw her. Selene. The vampire princess. The one tied to Kale. The moment Orion set foot on Earth, the threads of fate twisted violently. The heavens screamed. The sirens wailed. And deep within the underlands, the werewolves began to stir. For the gods, this was more than a love triangle. It was a cosmic betrayal. 3 powerful bloodlines, serpent-born, vampire royalty, and alien traveler, drawn together in love, lust, and prophecy. The gods convened in the Eclipse court, hidden beyond mortal stars. "Kill them," spat Zarin, god of flame and judgment. "Let their bones be reminders of our law." "No," said Nytheria, goddess of echoes. "Let them fall in love. Let them suffer, and then we tear them apart." But among the divine, one rebel remained. Vaelria, goddess of time, whispered through the void. "Let them love, and the world may yet be saved." Kale began dreaming strange things. Not just visions, but memories that weren't his. Of galaxies folding, of Selene reaching out through voids of color, and Orion's voice calling her name. He awoke with venom on his lips and fear in his heart. Selene had disappeared. In her place was a single note written in blood. "Come to the shore where the sirens sing. I'll be waiting before the eclipse claims us all." And so Kale began his journey, toward the haunted seas, toward the sirens, and toward a war older than time. But what he didn't know was, Orion was already there. And Selene? She had made her choice. Or had she? The sirens of the drowned moon. The sea was wrong. It hummed with unnatural quiet, the kind that makes even ghosts hesitate. No waves, no wind, just a stillness that suffocated the soul. Cale arrived at the drowned moon bay on the eve of the eclipse, his serpent form coiling through the black mist as he approached the ancient rock where the sirens lived, daughters of tide and tragedy. Each siren was born from a death at sea, cursed to sing eternally for love they would never know. But tonight they were silent, waiting for him. Cale. He returned to his human form and stepped barefoot onto the salt wet stone. A whisper sliced through the air. Serpent. Serpent who bleeds for love. You are too late. Then she appeared from the dark water, Lyris, queen of the sirens. Her skin shimmered like opal drenched in sorrow, her voice both lullaby and knife. Selene came. With the starborn prince, she said, circling Cale. They kissed beneath the moon's weeping eye. And she wept too, but not for you. Cale's heart twisted. But before rage could consume him, he felt something ancient shift. Behind the siren queen, the waters churned, turning red. Blood. And from the horizon came the howl of wolves. Crimson Howl Pack had crossed into siren territory. A violation of ancient pact. But these were not normal werewolves. These were the Hallowed, a rogue sect infected by a divine curse, tasked by the gods to hunt the Forbidden Three. Their head rode Thorn, once a prince, now a beast with a heart devoured by flame. Give us the serpent, Thorn growled. Give us the lover of shadows. Lyris smiled, cruel and slow. He is not mine to give. He is fate's mistake, and fate will decide. Suddenly the moon fractured above them, eclipsed fully now. From the shadows stepped Selene. Drenched in starblood, her eyes glowing with power no vampire should possess. And beside her, Orion. Silent. Watching. Hurt. Selene whispered. We have to run. All of us. The gods have sent the Hallowed. This is no longer about love. It's about the end of the world. But Cale didn't move. His voice cracked. Why him, Selene? Why him? She touched his cheek, and for a moment, everything paused. Because I didn't choose him, she said. I chose you. But he was in me before I even knew what love was. We are starbound. Cale turned to Orion, his eyes wild with fury and heartbreak. Then why are you here? Orion replied, his voice quiet and infinite. Because I would let the universe burn if it meant she lived. And just as the Hallowed lunged, the sky exploded. Above them, the veil between worlds shattered. The gods were coming. But so was something else. Veelria, the rebel goddess of time, had sent a warning across dimensions, whispered through siren song and carried in werewolf howls. If they die, the world dies too. The love between Cale, Selene, and Orion was not the threat. It was the key. To what none yet knew. Curse of the gods and the rise of the blood pact. The Hallowed had retreated, their alpha thorn grievously wounded by Cale's venom. The sirens vanished beneath the crimson sea. For a fleeting moment, the world exhaled. But peace would not last. In the ruins of a forgotten cathedral carved into the cliffs of the Siren coast, Cale, Selene, and Orion hid, surrounded by the scent of salt and thyme, hearts still raw from war and truth. It was there, amid stained glass glowing from moonlight, that Selene revealed the prophecy. Centuries ago, the old gods, Zarin, Nytheria, Solmira, and Ixis, cursed the earth with divine laws. Chief among them, no bloodline of the stars shall ever merge with the blood of serpents or the blood of night. Cale's kind, the serpent-born, were created as guardians of knowledge. Orion's ancestors were explorers of time and truth. And vampires were born of forbidden divinity, children of rebellion. Selene stepped into the moonlight, her voice shaking. If one from each of the three lines were to unite heart, soul, and blood, it would create a breach in the celestial seal. Kale whispered, "And what's beyond the seal?" Orion looked up, his eyes haunted. The one thing even gods fear. The endless voice. The entity that created them, and now wants them unmade. But the three were already entangled. Selene loved them both, differently, painfully. Orion could no longer tell if his feelings were destiny or choice. And Kale? His heart burned, not with love but with hope. That perhaps in some world he was not just a weapon. They knew they had to fight the gods. But they could not do it alone. And so the blood pact was formed. One night under the eclipsed moon, Kale sliced his palm open, venom mixing with blood. Selene offered her immortal lifeblood, tainted with betrayal and fire. Orion channeled the cosmic threads through his veins, turning time itself into a weapon. They were joined by unexpected allies. Vaelria, goddess of time, who defied her siblings to protect the lovers. Thorn, the hollowed werewolf prince, cursed but not broken, who sought revenge against the gods for enslaving his kind. Lyris, the siren queen, who knew the true songs, the ones older than creation. Pact was sealed. A war was coming. But the gods anticipated it, and they unleashed their secret weapon. A child. A being born from divine essence and mortal sin. Half god. Half human. Raised in shadows. Trained to kill the prophecy. Her name was Ashera, and she was Kale's half-sister. Meanwhile, Selene was weakening. Closer they came to the celestial gate, the boundary between realms, the more her blood screamed. She was changing, becoming something more. Orion noticed first. Her reflection in mirrors had returned. She could walk in sunlight, and her heart was beating. Selene wasn't just breaking vampire laws. She was becoming mortal. And Kale was becoming something far more terrifying. He began hearing whispers in the void. Ancient voices from beneath the roots of worlds. He dreamt of oceans made of fire, stars made of teeth. He dreamt of the endless voice. And it was calling to him. The lovers had one final night before the war. Kale kissed Selene beneath a bleeding sky, his fangs brushing her lips. Orion held her hand under a star that pulsed like a dying heartbeat. And Selene wept for them both. "I love you," she said to both. "But when the end comes, I might have to kill one of you." And neither flinched. 'Cause love, real love, sometimes ends in ruin. The world trembled before dawn. The stars refused to fade. The sun hesitated beyond the horizon, as if even light feared what would come next. The celestial gate had opened. The heart of the shattered realm known as the Ashen Skies, the final battlefield, formed. A floating temple of bone and crystal spiraled into the clouds, surrounded by storms that sang in ancient tongues. Here, the gods would descend to crush the forbidden bloodlines and erase the blood pact forever. Kale, Selene, Orion, Thorn, Vaelria, and Lyris stood at the edge of creation, willing to sacrifice everything. They were no longer just lovers, beasts, and rebels. They were legends becoming prophecy. Above them, the four gods emerged in divine form. Zeren, the god of flame and order with a crown of burning thorns. Nytheria, goddess of silence and shadow with no mouth but endless screams. Solmira, goddess of stars and law, whose tears turned into comets. Xis, the god of chains and time, who bound fate to his wrists like weapons. Their voices split the skies. "You were warned," Zeren thundered. "Love born across cursed bloodlines breaks the seal of oblivion," Solmira wept. "You will not unmake what we have ruled," hissed Nytheria. Kale stepped forward, his serpent form twisting behind his eyes. His voice was calm. "We never wanted to unmake the world. We only wanted to live in it, and that was enough to start the war." The battle was chaos laced with poetry. Thorn transformed under a blood moon eclipse, his werewolf form rising larger than temples. he tackled Zarin into a mountain of ash, snapping celestial flame with cursed fangs. Lyris sang a forbidden note, summoning the drowned souls of every sailor ever lost. Her ocean of ghosts pulled Solmira into watery nightmares she herself had created. Vaelria faced her brother Ixis time against time. They dueled in seconds and centuries, their blades carving echoes of every life ever lived. But the core of the storm? Selene, Orion, and Kale, the triangle at the heart of everything. Selene burned with a light no vampire should possess. Her eyes golden, her veins surging with mortality. She wielded blood as blade, slicing shadow with grace. Orion bent time, dodging divine strikes before they were born, turning moments into daggers. And Kale, he was becoming the endless voice. He stopped speaking. His body radiated a hum older than sound. Tattoos on his arms peeled open like eyes. The serpent within was no longer a beast, it was a god-eater. But then, Tyr arrived. His sister, the weapon of the gods. Clad in obsidian armor, wielding a blade called the Morning Light, she struck Kale through the heart. He fell. The world paused. Selene screamed, but it was Orion who broke. He grabbed Kale's body. The time thread flared wildly around him. "No!" Bran cried. "I will rewrite this." But the gods grinned. "Rewrite fate," whispered Nytheria, "and you become its slave." Orion ignored them. He shattered his timeline, sacrificing himself to send Selene and Kale back 5 minutes before the blade struck. His own body turned to stardust. Selene caught Kale as he collapsed into her arms, alive again but barely. And she made a choice. Enough. With her own blood, she forged a sigil in the air, a forbidden seal older than gods. It opened a portal deep into the vein of all realms, a place where the endless voice slept. Kale, half awake, whispered, "Don't do it!" But Selene only smiled through tears. "I love both of you. But the world needs you, Kale. And the world needs him inside you." She kissed him one last time. And with a scream of pain and defiance, Selene cast herself into the vein, merging her blood with the endless voice. And the moment her body vanished, the veil cracked. The gods collapsed. The war ended, but at a cost. Serpent's eclipse, the last echo of love. Silence ruled the skies. The gods had fallen. Their divine forms now nothing more than stardust scattered across ruined heavens. The celestial gate had cracked but did not break. Selene was gone. Orion was erased from time. Kale knelt at the edge of the battlefield, alone, half man, half serpent, fully shattered. The war was over. But peace was not what followed. Without the gods, the natural laws began to warp. Stars blinked in and out like nervous eyes. Oceans hovered above forests. Sirens could no longer sing. Werewolves no longer changed with the moon. The balance had been broken. And in the heart of it all, Kale stood as the last tether to everything that once was. For 40 days, Kale wandered the vein of all realms, searching for the echo of Selene's sacrifice. His body twisted further. His eyes became galaxies. His blood, black and gold, carried the whispers of the endless voice. But what he found was not her soul. He found Orion, frozen in a fragment of time, kept alive by the voice as payment. "Why me?" Brian asked, eyes hollow. Kale stared at him for what felt like a decade, then answered, "Because you were the only one willing to be erased for love. The voice respects that." Together they forged a new seal, one that would not rule by divine law or blood curses, but by memory. The seal of Eclipse. To stabilize the realms, it needed 3 anchors. Creature born of venom and knowledge. A being who had defied fate itself. And a memory of love so pure it broke the gods. Selene's sacrifice became the 3rd. Her final scream, full of love, longing, and loss, echoed in the seal. She had become something beyond vampire or mortal. She had become legend. Years passed. Kale built a temple atop the cliff where they once kissed beneath a dying moon. The world healed slowly. The stars steadied. Magic returned in whispers, not storms. Thorn became ruler of the hallowed, leading with wisdom, no longer fury. Lyris taught her sirens a new song, one of mourning and memory. Vaelria vanished into time, becoming a myth that scholars barely believed. And Kale? He stayed. Watching. Guarding. Waiting. Until one night, under an eclipse darker than ink, he heard her voice again. Selene. Not in body. Not in ghost. But in every heartbeat. Every dusk. She was not gone. She was within him. Kale walks through the temple alone. He steps onto the balcony where stars swirl into infinity. His form is neither man nor beast now, but balance itself. Orion joins him, reborn as a celestial scribe, guardian of time. They don't speak. They don't need to. Above them, the eclipse glows. Below them, mortals fall in love again, despite curses, despite fear. And Selene's voice is the wind. Let them love, even if it ends in ruin. For even ruin remembers.